Okay. Is there a hold on. Send this link to your people right now. I'm sending it to your email, okay?
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
And we are totally live, by the way. So
All right. So
it's live on the YouTube channel. So whenever they get it, they'll be able to rock and roll.
okay, hang on. Where is I gotta wait for your email to get here. Come on, email. Okay. All right.
You just put your PowerPoint up for right now.
I know. I should or I did?
No, you should.
Okay, I will. Hang on. I need to. I posted it to the Meetup page first, in case anybody's looking there for help. Oh, what happened? Can you tell if anyone's logged in yet?
Shortly.
Okay.
You still got to put up your PowerPoint.
I know. I can't do 14 things at once. Okay, so now I have to send that thing to Jim. Okay. All right, so I want to share screen, correct?
Beautiful.
Okay, I always pick the wrong thing. Desktop?
Yep.
Okay.
And if there's a white square around my face, you're going to want to take that off. In the bottom right-hand corner. Yeah, see how there's a white square? Click on where it says Chase.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Bam.
Oh, what happened?
I don't know. There you go.
Okay, but here's a question.
Yes, ma'am.
While I'm going through my slides, I can't look at any questions.
I got that covered. You're fine.
Okay. So we're ready to go?
Yeah. I'm waiting on Jim / if you just want to kind of get started.
Says, okay.
Who said what?
Scott says we're good.
Yeah, we're totally good. He can see us live. We've been live for about 5 minutes. So there you go.
But how did he have the new link? Anyway. So should I just get started?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have to admit, it's a little weird talking when you don't know if anybody else is listening.
That's usually how I talk. So I understand completely. your hesitancy towards that, but usually when I talk, it's just out into the void. So I understand completely.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Sorry about the technical issues. Chase is the technical guru in my world, and apparently I didn't set it up right. So anyway, this is the DFW Note Closers Group Meetup. We're happy that you joined us. We're happy to be doing a hangout, a little more technologically forward, even though it didn't go so well at first. So let's get started. First, we have our group organizers. I'm Kimberly Banks Fawcett, and my co-organizer is Jim Boulding. Jim, are you out there?
I don't think he's joined us yet. He was with us earlier. I don't think he's quite with us yet, so he'll get there.
Okay. Well, I've been doing notes for about 2.5 years now. I started in real estate right out of college, grew up in a real estate investing family, so I've been doing it forever, but notes hit me around 2013. And I invest in firsts and seconds. I enjoy the fact that you get into them differently, but then can work them out the same way, and I just like the variety. I feel a little strange introducing Jim if he's not here. He should sort of introduce himself, but Jim has been doing notes for a while, and he has an extensive career as an appraiser. If you have any questions about value, Jim is the guy to go to. He is one of the hardest working guys I know. He works about 70 hours a week on his appraising job and then manages to fit in his note investing career. So he's, like I said, a very hard worker. All right, so some people may have joined us off of Facebook this time, so I wanted to make sure to encourage you to join us. Your first option is to join us through Meetup. We do meetings the first Wednesday of each month, but we only do one live meetup per quarter. We do it in the Addison area, which is around, just outside Dallas, and we do 2 technological events. We do, we started a hangout, we've done webinars, we've done conference calls. So since the majority of our get-togethers...
Hey, Kimberly, I don't know if anyone can see your screen. You might want to go back to your Google Hangout and make sure that you're the one that's presenting.
Okay.
So go back to your Safari or Chrome or Firefox or whatever you're using.
Okay.
And then left-click where it says You, like on your little screen at the very bottom.
Uh-huh.
You see a little arrow? No, a little arrow at the top of that?
Yeah.
Just going to do like, we're already going to get started with the education bit. Yeah, click right there.
The drop down?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
click Present to Everyone.
Okay.
There you go. So now you're presenting to everyone. So if anybody makes any noise or anything like that, it won't matter. Your screen will be the only one they can see. Or at least it should. So we'll see what happens.
So was it showing before?
Yeah, but you also have to turn your camera back on.
We were supposed to avoid that part.
Go back to the screen. You can't share your screen either without sharing the camera.
Well, why didn't you tell me that before we were recording?
Hey, look, everybody's learning on the fly. There you go, right there.
All right,
Turn on. There you go. Done deal. Now
So
everyone
now I go
should be
back
able to
to
see
normal.
your stuff, so it'll be all good.
Okay, now everybody can see me? Okay. Anyway,
Hopefully. Pretty soon, hopefully.
as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, since we do 2 events every quarter, in a way anybody can reach us, we have tons of members that are from all across the country. So do not feel limited by the fact that you are not in the Dallas area to come join us. You can join us online. The second way you can join us is we have a Facebook group. It's Nationwide Note Closers Group. There are other note closer groups on Meetup, and we've sort of all come together in one place. With a Meetup, I hope you enjoy my dog barking. With a Meetup, we only talk once a month, but on Facebook, we can talk whenever we need to. If you have a question about something that's going on with a deal or a vendor you might need or something like that, you can get an answer from someone at least on a daily basis, if not incredibly quickly. So that's the 2 ways to join us. And I encourage you to join us because everyone knows lurking is for losers. So don't just
It sure shit is.
so don't just hang out here and not join us. Okay. I enjoyed that so much. Anyway, So this is our guest speaker who you hear in the background trying to help. Well, not the dog barking, the actual human voice that you hear in the background.
Son of a...
I know. Chase Thompson. Any of the note investors that are on our call, which again, I mentioned that we posted this to Facebook, so we may have some non-note investors with us tonight. But any of our note investors know Chase from Note MBA, the podcast he does with Robbie Woods, where they, what is your description? Note education for free.
Right. something akin to that, I think.
Something like that. And this just today posted their 44th episode. So you need to check that out. He's also an investor through his Brazen Equity company. He does coaching and consulting on marketing for note investors through Note Hustle. And then he does his marketing coaching through Elite Point Consulting. So he is sort of all over the map. And we are very fortunate to have him with us tonight. We need Scott's little noisemaker thing.
Well, we too need Scott's little noisemaker. Some clapping hands, a little bit of that. That'd be good.
I'll clap for you.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. So
we just got to get Jim on the call. Are you sure you sent him that email?
I did send him that email.
All right. Well, I'll blame him then.
Okay. So how do I now give you the screen?
You go back to your...
back to the craziness?
Yeah. So you go back to Firefox there.
Okay. And then I do the little drop-down thing?
Well, stop your mic first, or stop your camera first.
Okay.
There you go. And then stop presenting to you.
Stop presenting.
There you go. Done deal. So now what happens from an education perspective for everybody, in case you have not gone and become super familiar with Google Hangouts or anything like that, the way that it works is Google will oftentimes pick the presenter that is making noise. So like the camera will automatically adjust to whoever's making noise. So that's really kind of an interesting thing that is kind of an interesting feature set. So like that's why when you have like just presenting you or anything like that, if you've got, say, that PowerPoint that you're working on, or if you are presenting, like, so when I use Google Hangouts for, since we'll just get started right in on the education bit, if I'm presenting to, say, somebody out of town, somebody out of state, or something like that, whether it be a deal or whatever the case is, when I want to make sure I have the floor and the cameras aren't all jostling about, I'll click that little thing at the bottom and do, present me only, basically. And that kind of locks the camera down and it doesn't allow it to move around, and everything is on you as a focal point. So make sure you're kind of like, it's one of the big things that you want to do when it comes to technology in general. You just get in and like try to break it. It's kind of the way, like click every button, punch every little, little thing that you can. So that way, the different features better than anybody else. It's one of my favorite things to do whenever I download a new app, is basically just dive into the settings, dive into kind of every single nook and cranny I can, to make sure that I'm getting the most I can out of that piece of technology and giving myself an edge that other people might not know about to begin with. So it's really kind of interesting to do that. So. Ooh, you got a watermark email. All right, anyway. Sorry, I was looking at your screen. So you're ready to dive in. So what I wanted to address first, I was really hoping Jim would be on the call in case, Kimberly, if you had any questions or anything like that, or Jim had any questions about anything that I'm talking about in particular, just throw somebody. Christina said in the comments that they lost sound. I'm going through an error thing with Kimberly before, sending her a link, etc. Did you rewind? I don't know. I still have sound, so I don't know what her problem is. Sorry, Christina. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, Kimberly had sent out.
Can I just ask one quick question? Am I still screen sharing?
No, it's on me.
Okay, just checking.
So Kimberly had thrown out a survey for everybody to kind of check out and kind of fill out some questions and things like that. So I kind of first wanted to go through a bunch of the questions that everybody had on the survey. I told Kimberly that I feel like I brought a knife to a gunfight because I answered a lot of these questions on paper. I went through and I kind of took a bunch of notes to make sure that every time I was getting on this call, every time I get on a call, I always try to just talk to the audience and what do they want and who are they and what can I do to help them. And so it was really great for her to be able to send out this survey kind of ahead of time. So one of the questions, kind of the number one question right off the top, which was a great question, was literally not a question. It was a statement, a 2-word statement. And all it said was email marketing. So we can dive into all kinds of things with regards to email marketing. I don't know if they honestly I don't know what aspect this individual wanted to cover or anything like that. So the first thing I wanted to talk about with regards to email marketing and the way that you can be better and do better at email marketing, we actually just talked about on this week's show, this week's podcast, the Know to Be a Podcast, if you guys aren't familiar. And it's using the three, what I call the 3 E's. This is something that I had not really thought about or really had even put a lot of thought into until a recent IRA event. I went to the event. It went really, really well. Great follow-up, great questions at the event. Christina, who's actually in the chat right now, was actually at that event. And it ended up going really, really well. And I wanted to kind of dissect why. Why did it go so well? Like, what is it that I did at this event that I try to do at every event, and I try to do as often as I possibly can? How was I able to kind of like make that work? And so what I was able to decipher and disseminate it down into was basically this idea of the 3 E's. And these are the 3 things that you should really be focusing on with regards to email marketing specifically, but whether you're giving a presentation, talking to somebody at a coffee shop, whatever the case is, these are the things that you're going to want to focus on. The first E is going to be entertain. You always want to be entertaining. Now that doesn't mean you need to be some sort of jokester. It doesn't mean that you have to be a professional comedian or anything like that. I mean, you have to understand when I'm saying entertainment, what I'm really saying is that you just have to be able to tell stories, the occasional joke, a slight quip, whatever the case is. Just don't be boring is basically what you're trying to do here. I was actually having a conversation with an attorney today, and he was saying, he's actually one of the consulting clients that I work with, and he was saying he's not really sure how that entertainment piece works with regards to law. Like, what exactly is he entertaining people with, right? And I said, well, you have to understand, like, not everybody is entertained by the same thing. Like, most of the movies I go see aren't all comedies, right? Like, some are drama, some are action, some are, there's lots of different ways to entertain, and there's lots of different ways to be entertained, right? So for him, there's a few different ways that he can go about it. I let him know about another client I had that was a financial advisor, and I said, with him, I said, you can either tell the story of rainbows and unicorns, or you can tell the story about how the hearse, might be pulling up to the driveway, next week or whatever, right? Like, those are 2 totally different stories, 2 totally different sides of an entertainment coin. And which one do you think is going to convert better? Well, technically speaking, the one where that's going to provide the most action is probably the one with the hearse pulling up to the driveway soon. But, you don't always want to necessarily, beat that drum. But the idea is basically that. It's just this idea that as an attorney, he's got a copious amounts of stories, anecdotes, opportunities to really entertain and really bring the person in and get them engaged into a conversation with him. And that's what you want to be doing with regards to email marketing. If every single time you send me an email when it comes to real estate, it's always about a deal, it's always about how you need money, it's always about how you need a new tape or whatever the case may be, I might give you 2, maybe 3 chances. And that's just because I'm nice and I like to see what people are doing in the marketplace. Most people are only going to give you 1 chance. So if you've only got 1 chance to be able to get on their radar, you need to make sure that you're hitting on this first E as often as possible, this idea of entertaining. One of my favorite ways to drop the guard for a lot of people is to actually use humor. It works because I'm sometimes funny. But that's one of my favorite ways. That doesn't have to be your way. Just figure out what it is for you, your business, the people that you're going after for your JV deals. Figure that out and attack that one. The next E is going to be to educate. So again, it goes back to, you don't want to be boring. You don't want to be the, Mueller, you don't want to be that guy, right? It's not some lecture that you're giving in college. You want to be able to educate people about what it is that we do. I always like to have in my back pocket a deal, as it were, a fake deal, as it were. They're just, oh, note investing, what's that? Oh, it's funny you should ask. So let's say you've got, and I always place them in the home. Let's say you've got a $100,000 mortgage, and I walk them through what that would look like if they hadn't made payments for a few years, and now it's $120,000 in unpaid balance, and I bought it for 50. And I walk them through these very large, whole, easy numbers for them to understand. And it really helps illustrate, it helps educate them on what it is that we do. So always have that kind of back pocket example deal to be able to educate people, especially if you're meeting them for the first time and they do not know what note investing is. It's a really important thing to do. And the last thing you want to do is you want to elevate people. You want to elevate people as often as possible. During this IRA event, I noticed that some of the people on the panel weren't getting a ton of questions. So when they got an opportunity to speak, I would, before anybody else could say anything, I would ask them like, oh, hey, that was kind of interesting. What do you feel about XYZ? And I was giving them an opportunity to kind of continue, you know, elevate them amongst the peers in the room and all that kind of stuff. And that's always going to come across making you look like the better guy. You could take this to the other side and you could say elevating your prospect. Obviously providing people with better returns is a great way to elevate. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but using those kind of that guideline. Does this email entertain? Does it educate? Does it elevate the individual? Is that what am I checking these boxes? Because if you're not checking those boxes, if your email just says, hey, my name is Chase, I like to invest in these 15 states. Do you have 50 grand? And then next week it's, hi, my name is Chase, I like to invest in these 15 states. Do you have 50 grand? No one is going to listen to you. No one's going to give you no one's going to give you the time of the day, let alone a check. So hit on those notes when it comes to email marketing or any kind of marketing, especially face-to-face, and you're really going to kind of see that that wheel start to turn and really start to kind of get get in people's psyche and make it really easy for them to say yes to you. So that's going to be really important. The next area that a lot of people had questions on, and Kimberly, just jump in if you have any questions or anything to say about anything I'm talking about. But the next place that a lot of people had questions about specifically was LinkedIn. They wanted to know how to get that mailing list off LinkedIn. They wanted to know how to do marketing on LinkedIn, be a better marketer on LinkedIn. Just some general kind of tips and tricks and strategies with LinkedIn. So we're gonna talk about that now. So firstly, I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna make sure everybody on the call knows how to export their LinkedIn. So we're going to try to be a little more interactive than a phone call would be. I hope this works out for you guys. So just to make sure everybody in the call is fully aware of what it takes to be able to export your contacts from LinkedIn. I'm going to go ahead and endorse this person. I like that. I like her. She's fantastic. Well, didn't endorse. Oh, there it is. Nailed it. Oh, I'm gonna hit her again. There we go. Oh, there it is. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to your connections tab right over here at the top. So you click on your connections tab right here at the top. Click on this little gear right here next to this little person right here. And I always like to refresh my contacts, make sure everything's up to date, make sure it's fully synced. So you can see here I've got just a set of 3,200 contacts in LinkedIn. So to be able to export those contacts, you come right over here, export LinkedIn connections, export. It's going to ask you to verify some random letters that hopefully I'm going to type in right so that way the download happens. Done. And there you go. And it's going to do this little fly thing. And there, so this actually opens up in a text editor as opposed to actually opening up in Excel, but I can make it open up in Excel. So now what you have is, I'll bring all of this stuff up here. Now what you've got is you've got all of your, well, you've got beautiful pictures of my daughter there, but now what you have is you have all of your, and oh, by the way, if this is an issue for anybody when it comes to actually exporting these from LinkedIn, sometimes you'll have these issues on a Mac, so you'll have to jump through some hoops. So if anybody has these issues, just let me know and we can kind of work on that for you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass them real quick and open this up for you guys so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. And once you have these connections all done, you can export them straight into MailChimp, Aweber, Infusionsoft, any sort of CRM that contactually, any CRM that you guys are using. So that is now an incredibly rich database of people that you can be email marketing to, and trying to kind of gain business from, as it were. But again, remember, you want to be hitting on those 3 E's, as it were, to effectively be marketing to them. Golly, that's so many people. That's fantastic. So that's the first thing that we want to address. The next thing that we want to move to when it comes to LinkedIn are kind of my best strategies for getting really effective results out of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the top places that I get feedback, or that we get listenership to and traffic to on our Note MBA website, and our, by proxy, our note investing websites. And so the way that I do that is basically sevenfold. So I try to post daily an update here. This update here is almost specifically, or it's exactly like you would be posting an update, say, to Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. This is just a public offering for people to see what is happening. If you have your Twitter linked up as well, you can post to Twitter and LinkedIn here, which is fantastic. But you can post publicly, here's what's happening with the day, here's what's going on, a link. You can curate some content. You can do like this person did here, where they're just straight up pitching whatever deals they have here on some cap rate stuff. You can see where these people are posting straight to their page, right? So that's number one. You want to be posting daily to LinkedIn. That's just to be kind of top of mind and getting in the face of as many people as you possibly can.
But here's a quick question.
Go for it.
What kind of stuff would I want to post there on LinkedIn versus
business curated content is usually going to be the best thing. Like, so if I went to say, if I got a really great piece of content from like Business Insider or something like that, so if I, there it is. If I got like a really great piece of content from Business Insider, that would be something that I would, post there. So like something like that would be a really great piece of content there.
This morning I posted on Facebook an article I thought was interesting on TARP loans.
Exactly.
So that would have been a good thing to put on LinkedIn.
That would have been a phenomenal thing to also post here. Absolutely phenomenal thing to also post here. And if you're using a service like Buffer that is connected to both, say, your Facebook and your LinkedIn, it'll post to both, which is fantastic. It doesn't post as a published post. We'll get to that in a minute. If you're posting from something like Buffer, it will post directly to or as an update. Cool? So after you posted there, the next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to engage with your connections. A lot of people, so if I bring up Facebook right now, so if I go into Facebook right now, and obviously a lot of us are extremely familiar with the notifications that pop up here. Whenever we get this notification up here in this little world, we always click on it. We're like, oh, what's going on? What's happening? What's the new hotness happening over here? And we really pay attention to it. Very few of us pay attention to the notifications that happen in LinkedIn with the same amount of attention, because usually it's not friends and family. It's usually not people we quote unquote care about. It's random business connections or whatever the case is. But if you really want to be, this is such a great example. If you really want to be crushing it on LinkedIn, which is what a lot of these questions that were in this survey were asking about, this is one of the best areas that you can do that in. So you can see right here. So some of you know, some of you don't know, William Bonatti, as we like to call him, Naughty Bonatti. So he's a note investor. He's part of the group that invests with us. He's part of Scott Carson's group. And he's a good dude, and he's posted a piece of content here. Keep calm and due diligence and overview for non-performing first lien notes. So keep calm and due diligence, right? So he's kind of playing off of that, keep calm and whatever, right? Keep calm and carry on, right? So what he has here is he has a video. He's got written content here. This is fantastic. This is great. He's got great links. He's got all this kind of stuff going on. So when I say engage with your contacts, when you see this flag up here, look at all these people that posted all of this content, or something's happening in their life, or whatever the case may be. In fact, this is a really good guy, Noah Fleming. I actually liked his piece so much that I shared it. And if you didn't see that on my front page, it actually said 78 people had viewed my update about his content. That's incredibly powerful. People notice stuff like that. That's how you're going to be able to turn the screws on people and really get them to pay attention to you and really start to grow your business, as it were, right? So what we have here is we've got an opportunity. We can like this, of course. We can share the content here. Someone was asking a question. You're getting stuck on that. CSV is going to be the best way to export the content. If you don't have Excel, that's confusing. I would assume you're on a Windows machine and you should have Excel, but you can also import a CSV into Google Docs into their spreadsheets, and it'll view there as well. So I don't know exactly what you're having an issue with. If that didn't quite answer your question, it's like a .csv file, then you're going to want to send me an email maybe, and we'll get you solved out that way. But he's got a lot of really great content here. You want to jump in, you want to comment, you want to make sure you're following his content, you want to like it. These are the things that people are going to notice. These are the ways that people are going to, really start to, connect with you on LinkedIn. That's how you want to be engaging with your connections on LinkedIn. You also want to make sure that you add your personal URL from LinkedIn on easy places like your signature in your email and different things like that. You should have, if you don't, shame on you, a vanity URL with LinkedIn. So mine is linkedin.com/in/notemba. So I'm going to do a quick little. Let's see if Kimberly's got one. I'm totally going to call her out if she doesn't, because I can. Oh, what's the verdict? She does. KBF at what is it, ICG?
Yeah.
What about, can you bring up Jim? What's Jim got rocking?
Let's see.
Can you pull his up? So you're going to want to make sure that you put your LinkedIn URL on as many possible places as you can for obvious reasons. If you're trying to grow LinkedIn, if you're trying to use that for your business, that is going to be one of the areas and one of the easiest ways to get people to connect with you, start working with you, and all of that kind of stuff. Another great way to connect with people that you just endorse them. Oh, look at all that great stuff I just endorsed Kimberly for. She's going to get a notification for that. She's going to get an email that says I did that. If you want to get people on people's radars, that is how you do it, guys. It's not rocket science. It's just consistency. Consistently getting in there and consistently connecting and engaging with these people, that is how you're going to get it to work. Next thing up, guys, you're going to want to focus on is groups. I feel like I shouldn't have to say this because it seems fairly obvious, but you're going to want to make sure that you're in some groups on LinkedIn. Very easy to get into groups. Go under interests, go to groups. There you go. Done deal. I'm in, I don't know, something like 45 or something like that. Just a ton of groups. This gives you a great opportunity to jump in and connect with people, post your content, curate content, provide value, blah, 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 blah. All of those things, groups are a fantastic place to do it. On top of that, the way LinkedIn handles groups, if they haven't unsubscribed, quote unquote, from LinkedIn's emails, they'll also be getting email updates about things that are happening in groups that they're in directly to their email that is plugged in with LinkedIn. So you get another opportunity to get your content in someone's email box when you post it in a pertinent group where it really makes sense for that group to be getting that content. Really important key there. And the last thing you want to do, and of course I'm like giving away some things that will ruin my positioning, but the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're using keywords in your profile. So you want to make sure you have your profile filled out as best as you possibly can, as thorough as you possibly can. So I've obviously got Node Investor, NP and Asset Manager, Note Investing. I've got podcast host, obviously for my podcast right there. And then if you actually go down to the description here, the keywords that I'm really targeting here are Node Investing. So I've got Node Investing right here. I think I've got it in a couple of other places. I've got Node Investing here. If you go under the experience here, we've got Node Investing. It's all over Node Investing in Business. Like, it's all over my profile. You want to be seeding your profile appropriately with those keywords. So that way you can be on the first page, as it were. So Kimberly, if you search Node Investing in your search bar, who pops up? Who populates in there?
Hang on. One moment, please. So it's not anywhere in particular that you have to have those keywords.
You want them everywhere.
You want them everywhere.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, it's not coming up under Firefox. Hang on. I didn't know I was going to have to perform. Okay. So in the search bar, put Node Investing. I get Americole Mortgage, Investing Note PTE, and groups.
No. Literally hit enter when you hit Node Investing. So you get Liz Bromer. She's a Node investor out of Florida. You get Steven Strout. We know who that is. Scroll down.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could see my screen. I'm so confused.
Of course I can. Yeah, so you get a bunch of people that I'm familiar with. So continue scrolling. So yeah, you get a bunch of really great people that I know and I'm familiar with. Go to page 2.
Okay.
Do you know any of these people by any chance?
Oh yeah.
Fabulous. Exactly. So
Yeah.
these are the things that you're going to want to be doing, guys, to be able to start bumping yourself up in the search. Because if you're looking for these, there's a bunch of people we know.
Chase, there's
Hey,
Kevin.
Yeah,
Yep.
we know a ton of those people. There's Don
Oh, there's
Rock, Robbie Woods. So you see what I'm saying, guys? You just have to continue to elevate. Is that Eddie Sweet? That is page 3 is loaded. I'm not going to lie to you. There's some heavy hitters on page 3. But that's going to be one of the things.
Let me point out who came up before.
Hey, look, I don't like to gloat, but I do. I'm kidding.
I gloated for you, so that's what friends are for.
Another really kind of cool thing that a lot of people don't do with LinkedIn, they don't find business groups, local business groups. So when they go into groups, they look for these large kind of global groups. They stay within the niche. They only look for node investing groups or whatever the case is. But that's not really necessary. So, I live in San Antonio. So if I'm searching out, San Antonio Business Journal, San Antonio Business Alliance, looking at groups, San Antonio Christian Business Chamber of Commerce, all of these types of things. These are groups that you guys are going to want to get involved with. These are local organizations not related to your business with professionals that have the ability and opportunity to provide you with that JV money that you so desire, right? So if you're looking for it, right? So we're going to do San Antonio, and we're going to do business, right? 250 people in that group. San Antonio small business over here in this group. So we've got 864 people in this group. You've got real opportunity here, guys, to network with people and find people that can be private JV investors for your business. Really great opportunity here. And this is one of those things where it doesn't matter that I give you this, right? Because whether you live in my city or not, it doesn't matter. Most people aren't going to take action on this kind of thing. But are you in the Plano area, Kimberly, or DFW?
Plano. Yep.
Plano small business. I don't even.
Oh, you just muted yourself.
I muted myself?
For a second there, yeah.
Oh, weird. Let's see. Plano Chamber of Commerce. Oh, I bet this is a rowdy group of individuals. So you've got 568 people right there. I don't know if you're a part of this group, Kimberly, but that's potentially 568 people that you could connect with. Look at this. You have superior abstract title, a loan officer, loan originator. I mean, you life insurance professionals. I mean, president and CEO of this guy.
Yeah.
An attorney. Okay, these what is this? 10, 12 people here.
Mm-hmm.
There's easily 200 grand in private money right here.
Yeah.
In just this page, and you've got another 550 people out there to be able to get from. You know what I mean?
I'll put that on my to-do list.
There you go. And the last thing that you want to do, guys, is you want to post content. So not an update. So we're going to go back to the homepage here, and we'll be off LinkedIn here in just a minute. You want to post content. So you can see where you've got you sharing your update, but publishing a post is a different thing. So to be able to publish a post, you're going to go right here where it says, your homepage, and it says publish post. And it'll send you to this page that kind of looks like a blog, kind of creator page, as it were. And you've got content on the side. So originally I was posting content for our site to drive traffic to the blog. Now, actually, Robbie is the one that posted. We posted on his side. But back when we were posting it on mine, we can look at kind of some of the results of what happened there. I'm going to disable this here. There we go. So we got 110 views, 4 likes on this particular piece of content. And we'll click on this one here. 414 and 5 likes. I mean, so you guys can kind of see what's happening here. You can see where you're going into one particular platform and you're just absolutely working it over. Almost 130 views here, 8 likes. So you can kind of see what's happening here, guys. This is how you drive traffic back to your website. This is how you drive people to want to invest with you. This is how you start the conversations. Cool? On LinkedIn. So hopefully, for everybody that asked LinkedIn related questions, that answers those questions. I have like a checkbox over here for like people that asked a bunch of questions. Next thing on the list, somebody asked a question about prioritizing social platforms and where to start, time management, things like that. So this one's not an easy question per se to answer, but this is going to be one of those ones that's potentially, a lot of people are what's the word? A lot of people get hung up on this, and I don't quite know why they get hung up on this. It really is an easy answer to give. You're going to want to be on the platform that gives you the best opportunity to win. So if you really get LinkedIn, you're going to want to be on LinkedIn. If you really get Facebook, you're going to want to be on Facebook. If you really get Instagram, you're going to want to be on Instagram. That is going to be the best way for you to win. So looking at demographics, looking at where you know people, looking at the platform you're most comfortable with, that's going to be what you're going to want to do. And that's it. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. That's the platform you should be on. There's not really anything more to it than that, in my opinion.
But just that one platform?
Yeah.
So you're saying, I'm on Facebook more than I should admit. So I should only be on Facebook.
Yes. So case in point being, everything that I mentioned on LinkedIn, you can do on Facebook. Find groups in areas that you enjoy. Like if you love fast cars and expensive watches, find in groups that are involved with fast cars and expensive watches. If you like horseback riding, go find groups involved with horseback riding. Whatever your group, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to bring up my screen here and I'm going to pull it up again here just to kind of prove the point. But obviously a lot of people on this call are either involved with your Facebook group or other Facebook groups revolving around the note industry, as it were. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, that's great. But if you're spending most of your time in those groups, you're potentially wasting your time. Only because most of the people in those groups, at best, you're going to be able to wholesale a deal to. A lot of people in those groups aren't going to necessarily be the people that are always going to be able to provide you with JV money, as it were, right? That's just the true fact of it, right? So I'm going to go and I'm going to share my page again here. Share my desktop. Hopefully everyone can see my desktop. So I'm on Facebook here. And I typed in San Antonio. So the first things that popped up are private lenders of San Antonio, a closed group of 136 people. I don't know who they private lend to, but that might be me. I'm not sure. Exposed homes, San Antonio RIA, San Antonio Mastermind, 1,700 people in this mastermind group. Obviously, San Antonio's regular page came up, and I've typed in nothing else. I've literally just typed in San Antonio. So if I type in San Antonio Business Networking Group, Business Advisory, San Antonio Business Journal, Small Business Group. This is a great place. This is where you want to be spending time. Spending time inside of a note group, probably not the best group. And I don't mean that as a negative thing. I just mean in general, right? Generally speaking, where do I have the most opportunity for raising JV capital? When I'm in a group with 600 people who aren't currently investing in notes, don't know a ton about notes, where I can be entertaining, educating, and elevating, that have an opportunity to give me money, those 600 people, or in a group with 1,000 note investors, where I've got people that are out there looking for 600 people who they can entertain, educate, and elevate. Who's going to give me money?
Well, I would say that even if I didn't have my own Facebook groups, hint, hint, hint. But it depends on what you're trying to get out of your group. You need groups where you're raising JV capital, but you also need groups where you can ask questions and find resources and have people support your business.
Totally agree with you. Completely.
It depends on the goal of what you're trying to get from your group.
I don't disagree with you at all. I'm saying what I'm seeing in the marketplace, because the next question was how much time and priorities and social priorities and all this kind of stuff. What I see people do is time and again spending their 80% in a note-based group and getting 20% of the results, as opposed to spending, and not really getting anything out of it. So they're getting nothing out of it. And on top of not spending any time at all in the other groups, the rest of their 20% is just spent on Facebook jacklegging around. If you spent a decent amount of time in these other groups and truly engaged, truly tried to help other business owners, and did exactly what I'm talking about, come on, that's the point of groups like that.
Yep.
There's your opportunity. So when it comes to what groups you should be on, you can do hashtag research on LinkedIn. You can do research on Twitter to find lists of people. It doesn't matter. The social network doesn't matter. The platform doesn't matter. What matters is you having a strategy, implementing that strategy, doing some sort of testing, doing some sort of measuring. This month, Chase said, spend as much time as I can. Spend every time I hop on Facebook. I'm not liking or giving a crap about anybody's new baby photo, unless it's Chase's babies because they're beautiful babies. I'm jumping into the groups of small business in my area, fast cars and nice watches, or whatever those groups are that you're jumping into, and I'm engaging and I'm being a great steward in those groups. I'm going to spend 30 days doing that. I'm going to try to set some appointments. I'm going to go out and I'm going to truly network. I'm going to do it missionary style, belly to belly. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do what I need to do to grow my business. And I'm sure as shit, I bet your business grows. When you finally understand that spending your time on these social networks can be spent positively, well, and truly engaging with other business professionals, your business is going to do quite well.
I'm so amused that you said missionary style.
I did say you might have lost some people.
No, actually, we're still holding firm.
There you go. Go to facebook.com/pages, and there's a link there to create a business page. Yeah. So Charles answered a question for CEW Tube. I'm not even going to try to guess how you say that. About how to make a business page. My take on business pages are, I wouldn't make one unless you are in the thousands of friends position on your own page, like on your personal page. If you have thousands of people that follow you, then I would probably start looking at a business page. I don't know if I would really focus a lot of my time on a business page this early in the game. If you've got an established presence on Facebook, then by all means, make an actual page. And if you have like additional questions regarding like when and how and why you would make that transition, just send me an email. But I think by and large, most people don't need one. That's just my opinion, though. You're messing with the settings on. Okay,
how can you see what I'm doing?
Clicking around because I'm all knowing.
Well, the one thing I'm trying to do is the fact that I don't see chat. So. Oh
well, I do. I'm awesome. So anyway. Again, I see all things. And when it comes to, kind of finalizing that on the priorities and where you're spending your business and marketing time and all that kind of stuff, I find that two really great questions to ask when it comes to, like you were saying, like, what am I sharing on LinkedIn? What content am I putting on Facebook? What content am I blogging about? What content am I emailing about? All of that kind of stuff. Two really great questions to ask yourself with regards to that are going to be, what are my clients worried about? So the people that I'm marketing to, because we're not all marketing to the same people. It's highly likely as a millennial, I have an opportunity to talk to more millennials than most people on this call, unless you yourself are also one. Like that's just how it would work, right? So what millennials are worried about aren't the same things that baby boomers are worried about. What someone who makes $100,000 is worried about isn't the same thing someone who makes $1 million is worried about. Figure out who you're marketing to, and then address in your marketing the things that person is worried about. That's where you have an opportunity to not just do all rainbows and sunshine and unicorns, but talk about the hearse that's going to be pulling up, on the driveway, and kind of give them a real look into what can happen if they're not being good stewards with their money or whatever the case may be, if that's the target market you're going after. So be sure to ask yourself, what are my clients most worried about? And that gives you a really interesting perspective and an opportunity to find good content. We're going to actually go into another way to find really good content here in just a second. And the next question you want to ask is does my audience, do the people that I'm marketing to, my clients, all of this kind of stuff, do they trust me? Do they trust my brand? Do they trust what I'm saying? And the reason why that's important is recent studies have shown that up to 72% of people are going to trust online reviews as much as they trust word of mouth from a friend, which is insane. So they are infinitely more likely nowadays to trust an online review or something they see online as they are going to be trusting a word from a friend, right? So that's really valuable and very important for you to know. You can get a lot of yeses now a lot more than you could before without necessarily having that personal referral. If you can get, say, some testimonials on your site or include testimonials in your emails or doing different things like that. Obviously, you just unmuted. You had a question, Kimberly.
Yeah, I can't, I find that statistic remarkable.
Oh yeah, no, like when I said I was doing homework today, like I was really like I have this all written on this giant legal pad. I didn't know it was as high as 72%. 72% of people are just as likely to be like, oh crap, what camera should I get? I'm gonna call my photography friend. Hey, what camera should I get? Oh, that's interesting, cool. And then they're gonna go to Amazon. They're gonna pull up that camera, and then what are they gonna do? Scroll all the way down to the bottom and start reading the reviews. This guy that they know that's had a camera business for 22 years has the same bearing on their purchasing decisions as, you know, your boy over here in the comment section, CEW Tube 4. And he's like, oh, I love this camera. It's the best thing I've ever had in my whole life. They're just as likely to believe that guy. That's insane.
Yeah.
But it's true, and it is what it is. So you need to be able to capitalize on that by having things like testimonials on your site and understanding the importance of trust of you and your brand from these clients that you're marketing to in a digital capacity. There's a really great book on this called The Trust Edge, by David Horsager. That's David Horsager is his last name, Horsager. The Trust Edge, and he talks about basically like this 7 C's of trust. Talks about clarity. This is going to be clarity of message. Talks about having compassion for the person that you're helping. What are they worried about? What am I helping them solve? Talks about having character, competency. When they talk to you about these types of things, do they feel like you know what you're talking about? Talks about commitment. One of the questions I get asked a lot of times by people that are interviewing me to do JV deals with me, they basically ask, you know, how long have you been doing this? Have I been committed enough, long enough to the craft that they're going to scratch me a check for 200 grand, right? Connection. How are they connected with you? Are you making a connection with them? Are you going through the 3 E's with them? Are you entertaining? You know, are you educating them? Are you elevating them? Are they feeling a connection with you? What's been your contribution? This goes in multiple different facets. Have you already contributed to their, say, 401k or a self-directed IRA or their money in general? Have they already invested with you? What contributions have you given them? What contributions have you given the people around them? If you met them at a nonprofit, you know, what capacity have they seen you contribute there? I mean, where are they seeing you contribute? That's really important. And the last thing, and the most important one by far, is consistency. Consistency is the key to all of this. How consistent are you with the clarity of your message, your compassion for people, your character, your competency, your commitment, your connection, your contribution? How consistent are you with going through the 3s? How consistent are you with emailing people? How consistent are you with doing the things that I talked about doing on LinkedIn? That is the cornerstone of this whole damn thing. Very, very important that you're not fly by night. That they are trusting you with quite a bit in their life. You know, I feel like some people that do this don't fully take into account what they're really doing sometimes. They want to do the deal, they want to do this, they want to do that. I feel like sometimes people don't fully, investors, you know, people on our side of the table don't fully get the impact that they can have on somebody and how great it can be, but also how devastating it can be if they're not doing these things. So you want to make sure you're hitting on all cylinders there. So that's really important. A kind of a weird note to kind of touch base on, I guess, but you want to make sure you're being consistent. Some key things to point out when it comes to social, because you asked about it, Kimberly, should we only be focusing on one? How can we be a little bit better about social with the time spent there? One of the things you're going to want to focus on is going to be batching. I talk about that with Buffer. Buffer is a great app. If you're not familiar with Buffer, go get yourself familiar with it. It allows you to batch your social media postings. That's going to be one of the easiest ways to kind of not spend a ton of time on social. So be batching your work there. Also be scheduling the time, and really putting it on your calendar. Like the next 30 minutes are my LinkedIn time. the next, whatever, 20 minutes or Facebook time. It's really strange and it's kind of awkward to do because you feel like your Facebook time is also like when you're in line at like the pharmacy and you're like trying to pick up your kid's Ritalin and whatever. And you're like, oh God, I got to get this done. Like that's also your social media time. But like, that's the time to like be liking my kid photo, my kid's photos, not the time to be like perusing business specific stuff. You want to be setting that business specific stuff in your day. Schedule that stuff and you won't be wasting time on that stuff. So batching and scheduling are two really big ways to kind of like not be wasting time on social. I think that's really important. I'm going to share my screen again to give you guys an idea on how you can come up with content. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, and a lot of people struggle with, is content generation. Ideas on what to write about, what to curate, how to find really great content. This is actually a tool and a thing that I haven't really showed anybody before. So this will be something that y'all get to see firsthand. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. So let me share my screen here. Oh, there's me right there. Lovely. So let's go to Google here. Looking at yourself on camera can always be kind of weird. Okay, so a really interesting way to kind of come up with really engaging content, as it were, figure out what other people are talking about with regards to content. So let's say you wanted to find content on real estate investing. And you just typed in real estate investing in Google. Well, you get a lot of weird kind of, you get some recent news and whatever kind of the hot, look, this article's from 2006. Come on. So you just get a kind of just this random smattering of things, right? So what you can do is over here, you can type in URL : and so what that's telling Google to do is I want this specific thing to be in the URL with regards to this particular topic. So we're going to write the word blog. So you can see right here at the top, like what obviously posts right here at the top is going to be Bigger Pockets. It's one of the most popular real estate investing blogs on the market, right? So now what you have is you can see right here where it's got blog in bold letters. So now what it's saying is I'm looking for real estate investing, but I only want you to show me, that's INURL : blog. I only want you to show me URLs that have the word blog in them. Cool? And that pertain to that particular topic. And so you'll get a bunch of content here. You'll get some interesting ideas here. But again, you've only got about 10 pieces of content here. There's nothing really that great that's kind of like happening here in this particular arena. It'll take you a little while to come up with some ideas, but you know that there's 72,000 current results where you got real estate investing, and then you've got the word blog in the URL. And we can put any kind of words here. I mean, we could put, whatever. We could put, I don't know. I keep using it as as an example. Horseback riding or whatever. So we've got a lot of different, horseback riding topics or whatever. It's whatever you care about, right? But let's just put real estate. So we've got real estate, and then we've got in URL : blog, right? So what do we do with this? What can we achieve with this? Well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go back to that Google homepage. I'm going to go down here to settings. I'm going to go to advanced settings. Or actually, I'm going to go to search settings. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off instant predictions. I'm going to say never show instant results. And you're going to want to probably change your Google habits back after this. And then I'm going to take the results from 10 per page to 100 per page. Cool? And then we're going to go to save. So now my preferences have been saved. So I'm going to put that same thing in it. Real estate in URL : blog. Search. And now it's going to take a little while because it's going to be providing me 100 links. So instead of that first page only being 10 links, 100 links, right? So you're like, okay, this is great, but how does this help me? How does this provide me with content? Well, there's a great little plugin here. It's called the Moz bar, and I'll show you how to get it. M-O-Z. It's a little Moz search bar here. So it's going to take a minute for it to load. Number one, it's going to provide you with some really interesting content with regards to these actual links and these URLs. Give you page rank content and like interesting data points, which is cool. You can always turn off the hotspots if you want. It doesn't really matter. The purpose of what I'm going to show you here, though, is that if you click on this little file right here, you can export the entire, it's called the SERP analysis, which stands for Search Engine Result Page, SERP. Search Engine Result Page Analysis. So you can download the whole thing in a CSV file. So you can download this whole thing in an Excel file. So when I bring this up, what you get is you get a whole list in order of the top pages that came up with blog content about real estate, the description of that post, and exactly what that post says in terms of its title. 10 ways to improve your SEO with real estate website. 10 top-notch building tactics for a real estate website. So all these are based around real estate building websites, which is fine. All you have to do is focus in on the keywords where I put real estate and, right here. Change these words here to whatever it is you give a crap about or your clients give a crap about, whatever the case may be, and you'll find unreal amounts of content. So this is 100 results for all kinds of things regarding real estate and the internet. Basically the top, 100 things that will populate for that.
Wow.
And so you can go, okay, so I can see already off the top. So, and you can make really interesting assertions out of here, right? So you can go 10 ways to improve SEO, 10 ways to improve SEO, 10 blog comments. So you see 10 steps to success in an alternative tribe, 10, 8. So you can see numbers are showing up a lot. U.S. government stuff showing up a lot. You can see specific locations, homes in Florida. So you get this. So you can start to get this idea to go, okay, so if I see this kind of populating a lot, you could do 10 ways to lose your ass in Florida real estate. 8 things to look out for when starting your note investing, private money thing. 8 properties I wish I had never invested in. 6 deals I'm super, you could come up with, you can clearly see numbers are important. And then you've got, like I said here, you've got a bunch of how to shift your IRA to a self-directed IRA. I guarantee a ton of IRA companies are gonna, would love to give you copious amounts of content for that, right? A lot of opportunity there, guys. So it can give you this idea that when you're brainstorming for content and or trying to find content to curate, you just copious amounts of data points to go, these are the 100 ranked here. Now I can go, okay, so I've got to come up with some number-based posts, some how-to-based posts, looking at, like you mentioned, you posted something on TARP, Kimberly, so you saw that some government-specific kind of stuff was showing up in those results. So people wanting to hear about what the government thinks of housing, how housing is doing, all of these different types of things. And now you understand that that's also a really interesting point, things that Google likes. So now when you start producing this content, not only is it clearly evident to you that people give a crap about it, it's now clearly evident to you that Google also cares about it, which is important for you to show up in search rankings and all this other stuff. So that's a really cool kind of interesting tool. And the last thing I'm going to show you guys actually how to download that specific bar. So it's called the we'll bring it up here, bring up the tools here. So it's called the Moz bar, and it's available on Chrome and it's available on Firefox. So for Chrome, if you just go to so we'll just go to Chrome plugins here. Plactogi. There we go. So we'll go to Chrome plugins, and it'll send you to the Chrome. Whoa. It'll send you to the Chrome plugin store. Oh, I need to turn this thing off. It's freaking crazy. It'll send you to the Chrome plugin store here, little web store. And you're going to search MOZ bar. Oh, bar. There it is right there, the Moz bar. And that's it. All you got to do is just, you click here and you add it to Chrome. Right here, this button will be blue and it'll say add it to Chrome. And it'll give you the ability to export all of that stuff if you so care to. Again, though, if you saw where it was showing the actual value that Google is placing on some links and things like that, you can also do some really interesting competitive analysis with, let's say you're trying to talk about what's happening in Plano real estate and your pages just aren't getting to the top or whatever the case may be. You can do some really interesting kind of espionage, as it were, to go, okay, so my competitor is showing up. What kind of ranking is Google giving them? Like, why is that there? What is happening with that piece of content? And you'll get some of that data from that Moz bar, which is really cool to be able to do that as well.
Interesting.
Any other questions?
No, that whole Moz bar idea is very cool. It's it might be next level, but it's very cool.
So like, that's it, right? Like, the big thing is about any of this stuff, though, is that one person on the call might do that, not including myself. And one person might go in and do the SEO, putting the keywords on their LinkedIn page. One person might start to try to implement the, 3 E's when they're giving presentations and speaking with JV partners. But there's no way I can control that. I can just try to provide the information to you. But that's important to know when it comes to kind of the competitive analysis of it all. Very few people are going to put in the commitment. Very few people are going to put in the time. Very few people are going to do anything. So if you start implementing these things, you can do really big things with your business. Someone just asked a question. Can you just repost that content, or do you have to write your own based on what you found? No. So what you can do, I just want to call you ChewTube, but there's no H, so I'm just going to call you ChewTube anyway. ChewTube 4. What you can do is you can actually curate that content. You can absolutely repost it. You wouldn't repost it on your own blog, but what you do is you'd post that to Twitter, you'd post that to LinkedIn, you'd post that to Facebook. And I would reach out to the person that wrote it and go, hey, by the way, Doug, loved your article, Doug, on this particular topic. I posted it here. Whatever the case is, I would send them an email, let them know that you were curating their content, that you enjoyed what it was. Love that Mozbar idea, 6 Christina. Just not coming up on my available plugins on Firefox, but I'll keep looking. It is available on Firefox. You just have to, you might have to go to moz.com and download it specifically from them, number one. Or number two, your Firefox might not be fully up to date. I don't know what it is, but I've got it on both of mine. So
back up one thing that you said. So other than being incredibly friendly and kind, why do I want to email the person that wrote the article?
Again, it just continues to kind of expand your marketplace. It takes all of 1.5 minutes out of your day to do so. Okay. They might then look at your content and do the same. Okay. There's just that's it. Just for the generalness of the last E, elevating. That's it. That's the reason. Yeah. I personally am not a huge believer, and I know this might shock a ton of people, and whatever, they can deal with it in their own way. I'm not a huge believer in the law of reciprocity in the general sense. I think a lot of people are, and so it tends to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, I think, a little bit. So I'm not saying do it because of that. Like, you're going to give, and so then somebody's going to, you're going to get all that kind of stuff. Like, I get why that would be something that someone would think would be the reason. I'm just not a big fan of it in the general sense. I think you could spin your wheels a lot by just, doing things, hoping for other things and whatever. I just think that it's something that's really fast and easy to do. And so I would do it, in general. So, yeah. Anything else you would like me to cover now that it is 7:40? I have no idea how long your calls usually go, so I apologize for anybody that was not expecting it to go this long.
Oh, they're hanging in. Do I have any questions?
Anybody else have any questions, I guess I should say.
Oh, so it doesn't matter if I have questions? Okay, fine.
Well, your questions are important as well, but I was really hoping Jim would be able to be on the call. Jim, where you
Well, he is listening.
Oh,
he's log in as a participant.
That's unfortunate.
Yes. As he said, this is a learning experience for us all.
Oh, is that what he said? He said it to you privately?
Uh-huh.
Great content. Keep going, says Christina. No, appreciate that. So yeah, that's one of the things that I look to be perfectly honest with you. If you guys had asked a lot more comments and questions, I could have answered a lot more stuff. Kimberly, you were mentioning in a text message leading up to this that you were intrigued with Twitter, but you're finding it difficult to figure out the best way to implement that with your business from a tools perspective. Mm-hmm. I am personally a big fan when it comes to diving in on the platforms natively. So when it comes to Twitter, the only way that I really connect with Twitter is through the app, right? Like on my iPhone. I mean, like that's how I drive and connect with Twitter.
And all that nonsense, you ignore that. You just
Tweetbot is fantastic. It's just $4.99, and I personally am fine with the Twitter app. Like, Tweetbot's awesome, and I am the first guy to tell you to spend money on an app that makes sense. Mm-hmm. That's just one that doesn't for me. Okay. Because have been using the Twitter, specifically for Twitter now. I'm talking about Tweetbot, right. For those who aren't familiar. It's currently on sale, 50% off in the iPhone store, FYI. I have no affiliation with Tweetbot. But I pay attention to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tweetbot's a phenomenal tool if you're planning on really diving in with Twitter. But even at 50% off, I think it's like $4.99.
Yeah.
And for an app that really works extremely well, like I feel like Twitter does, I just don't see a reason. But that's me. Like
Well,
in general.
This is my problem with Twitter. Twitter to me is a whole lot of noise. Now, I was listening to some article, reading something, whatever, and it explained to me that part of my problem with Twitter was I was trying to start a conversation when I should be listening to see what other people are talking about and engage with them. So I got that.
Completely agree.
But still, you pull up Twitter and there's 45,000 conversations going on, and somebody's retweeted something, and they only retweeted part of it, or they're responding to someone, and I don't know how you jump in and follow this stuff.
So I have a really good friend of mine that he did an interesting post about Twitter, and it was like a video, and he said a lot of people treat Twitter like this, and so it was someone with a camera set up, and they were at like a mixer, and he just like walked out into the middle of the room, and I don't even know if you're going to catch up the audio on this one, and he put his chair down like this, and then he stood on top of his chair, and he was like, "Hey everybody!" So that's what this guy did.
Nice.
That's what people do on Twitter. Twitter is like this party that's happening, and most people on Twitter are just standing on chairs yelling, like while there's a mixer happening.
That's so true. That's why I can't jump in. I don't like to hear people yelling.
Sure, exactly. So what you do is, number one, you make sure you're following better people. Number one is always a good call. Number two, using the search feature is how you do that. So I'll show you on twitter.com, though normally I'm doing it on the app because it's equally as easy there. So I'll share my screen here, share my desktop here, and we'll go to Twitter. Log in.
That's such a perfect analogy. People standing on a chair yelling.
Oh, it's great, right? It's the best. Okay, so we're here. We're live on my Twitter here, as it were. And so you're going to want to go to search, and let's search, I don't know, let's just search real estate. It's going to be a ton of people yelling. So now we've searched real estate investing. So 10 minutes ago, somebody had some post about it. You've obviously got a bigger pockets thing there, which is great. Learn the secrets of probate real estate investing. That's an interesting kind of little post here. Best podcast for I need to check out the best podcast on real estate. I'll make sure my podcast is on there. So that's an interesting biz dev opportunity there from this person who is she is like a verified person. This is amazing. I don't know who this lady is, but she's a broadcaster. That's a great biz dev opportunity for me there. Now that I'm geeking out over here on Twitter. But you can kind of see you've got people talking, you've got people doing different things like that. Let's say one of your goals was to, really kind of make a splash in the Bigger Pocket community. Well, you see Brandon Turner right there from Bigger Pockets right here on Twitter. So retweet some of his stuff, connect with him, send some replies to some of his stuff. So like this is an interesting place because there's just a lot of people shouting, as you said, like that's just what's happening with this particular hashtag or this particular topic. So maybe you search it out differently. Maybe you do hashtag, real estate instead of, with no spaces, obviously, instead of searching for a broad term. You just have to kind of find your zone. And to be perfectly honest with you, I have some of mine. I just don't want to give them to everyone here. No, I'm just kidding. But no, like that's totally ridiculous. I'm kidding. But that's like one of the things that you can do. You can also go into, looking at different people with these. I mean, you can, oh my gosh, you can do so many things. You can look at real estate trends. You could do, hashtag note investing, hashtag real estate, hashtag IRA, hashtag SDIRA. Oh, I wonder what that pops with. I bet it's just IRA companies shouting. That'd be so great. Who are self-directed IRA investors? Okay. Look, these are great people to connect with. These are trust companies. Oh, there's Scott Carson. Love it. Retire happy. I mean, these are people, this is how you can kind of get that targeted conversation started, if that makes any sense. I think I was at this event. I'm not sure, but I think I was there. But this is how you can do some targeted, focused, stuff with regards to using Twitter. This is how I use Twitter. Rarely am I just perusing through the stream, as it were. I'm very focused with my time. Like I said before, I schedule it. I jump in. The only time I'm ever like really perusing the screen is when I'm like in the supermarket, line or something like that. Like that's when I'm doing it. Rarely am I like sitting in my office perusing it that way. But that's how I would use Twitter if I were you to start some of those conversations. Find people within the Plano business community that are using Twitter like effectively or at all or whatever it is. Start following them. See what type of hashtags they're using. There might be something like hashtag PSMB or Plano small business. There might be something there that's like a hashtag that's happening there locally that you just don't know about, which would be a really cool thing to get keyed in on it. And involved in. So those are going to be the ways that you slowly, that's literally what we talked about at the very beginning. And it's a great way to wrap all this up. But like, that's how you continue to push every button, push against the box, find all the features, find all of the ways that you can exploit in a good way these pieces of technology. You're not going to know every hashtag. You're not going to know everybody in your local market if you're not out there actively searching it. I honestly cannot remember the last time somebody walked up to me and they were just like, hey, and I want to give you all of my business. Right? Like if you're one of the whatever number of people watching this and on the replay or whatever the case is, for real, like I will crumple up a large sheet of paper off of this and eat it. If you tell me, and it's like somehow verifiable, that like literally someone had never heard of you before, saw you in a room, they were like, damn, that guy's tie is sharp. I'm going to walk over there and give him all my business. Not happened, not once, never in the history of the world. Marketing is about those 7 C's I mentioned. Marketing is about those 3 E's I mentioned. Marketing is about consistently tooting your own horn, because if you're not, nobody else is playing in your band, right? So getting out there and doing these things, using Twitter search, using groups on Facebook and LinkedIn, not just the note groups, using small business groups where you're located. Things like that are going to be things that are going to turn real results for your business if done consistently. That is where marketing is. So anyway, it's a bit of a soapbox edition there at the end of it, but that's it.
Not a problem. We like your soapbox.
Indeed.
All righty. Okay, how do I switch back to my screen now?
How do you switch back? So what you'll do is you'll share your screen first.
Okay.
Yeah, so stop presenting on me would be good. So like click where it says Chase.
Yeah.
Click on where it says Chase.
Mm-hmm.
No, like literally click the box. There you go. Perfect. Now you'll go share your screen, and then you'll turn your camera back on. We're just educating everybody.
Exactly. So I turn my camera
all
back
the
on.
things.
And where's my... Oh, you're not supposed to see me. Okay.
There you go.
Now, can everybody see my screen now?
No, everyone can see you now because you haven't shared your screen.
Oh, heavens.
Luckily, I'm a good video editor, so it's not the fear.
All right, how do I share my screen? I thought I did share my screen.
The little green box.
I know, I'm trying. Where is it? Where's my little green box, dear? Now am I presenting to everyone?
No, it's over on the left-hand side where it's like the little green box that says share screen.
Yeah, but it just says screen share and it doesn't do anything.
Oh my god.
Well, now it says it says up top that I'm presenting to everybody.
Okay. I can't see your screen though, so.
Can you see it now?
No, ma'am.
Can you see me now?
No.
Because I can see me.
Yes. You're the greatest.
Can you see me now?
Yes, I can see you.
But can you see my screen?
No, Kimberly, I can't.
All right, forget it. I was just going to tell everybody how to find the meetup groups. So it's DFW Note Closers Group on Meetup, and it's Nationwide Note Closers on Facebook.
Fabulous.
So.
I love it. Thank you guys for spending the evening with us. I appreciate you having me present to your people.
For enjoying our technical difficulties. Well,
absolutely.
Kimberly's incompetence.
I love it. If anybody has any questions about anything that we talked about, hit me up over at chase@nodemba.com. If you have not already listened to the show at NodeMBA, meetup.com. And yeah, I appreciate it, Kimberly. We will we'll have to do it again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.